All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Card Talk. This is going to be episode 1 of season 2, and I don't think any of us could be more excited to be back talking with you guys after a 2-3 week hiatus, Ty?
Yeah, I guess it was
3 weeks off? 2 weeks off?
2 weeks.
Yeah, nice little 2-week break.
That was nice. I'll take
Seems
it.
like forever.
My hair's getting a little longer. I'm definitely losing more and more of it, but we're all right.
So on today's episode, we're going to get into a couple different things. We'll talk about our NBA season predictions and kind of cards we want to pay attention to and keep an eye out on. We'll get into our NFL Super Bowl predictions as the playoffs are about to start and get into a general card discussion, skill position players, Mahomes, different things like that. And then what does it look like in our minds for different grading companies in 2021? So Ty, Lou, let's start off. I don't think the NBA was going, or if it wasn't doing much when we recorded our last episode of season 1. So obviously the NBA is going. We've mentioned it before. NBA goes, the market goes. It seems to be in the driver's seat for cards at the moment. But I want to get into what do you guys see happening this year? Let's talk about Rookie of the Year, MVP, Most Improved, Defensive Player of the Year, and your finals matchup / champion. Let's get into some different things.
Yeah, I like it. We'll jump right in. MVP predictions. Lou, what do you got? Who do you got? MVP of the NBA season.
I will go with Mr. LeBron James as my MVP.
That's a good one. I am going to take one way out of left field, I think.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with Jokic.
Interesting.
Yep. The Nuggets, I think, are going to be a top 2 or 3 seed in the West. He's playing well so far. I really like KD, but I think Kyrie steals a lot of that spotlight. I don't think Booker's going to win it. I don't like Tatum to win it this year. LeBron and Giannis are easy ones. Luka's an easy one. So I'm going to go a little left field on this. I'm going to say Jokic.
Yeah. That's crazy, actually, because I was going to come on here and say, like, I'm the biggest Nuggets fan in the world, but I actually think they might be like the 6th seed. I also think the Mavs are going to struggle. And I think LeBron, LeBron, and reason being is just this year is crazy. I mean, for sports, I think we're still full count. All of a sudden, he goes out, dropped 62 last night, literally to have 1 point higher than LeBron James's career high. But LeBron, he just wins. And if you look at the Lakers, there's a lot of teams. The Nets are 3-4. The Lakers have lost 1 game, and I believe it was on opening night.
They're deep this year.
They're deep, and they win. And if anyone knows how to rest and make it still happen and all that, I look around. I've been paying attention to a lot of just box scores and what have you, and LeBron just each night still there, putting up his 22,
triple-double every night. It's unbelievable,
and wins. And you look around the league, and these teams are losing games. There's these back-to-backs. It's tough to beat a team on back-to-back nights. And that you have that in the league now with these like little mini baseball series. And so I think so. I think the Suns will be good. But to your point, I think the CP3 Devin Booker convo, it's not just a Booker thing. I think Luka is going to take a step back this year a bit in terms of expectations have now gone through the roof. And I don't think he has the team around him to deliver against that. So I think he's going to have to press a lot more. And I think that might not be what he's looking for. I think LeBron.
So LeBron's one of the easiest 2 answers in this. So besides LeBron or Giannis, right? Probably the 2 front runners, I would assume. Mm-hmm. Who are you taking if you're not taking one of those 2 chalk answers?
Lou?
Like, who are you taking outside of those 2 guys?
For MVP.
Yeah, MVP.
Yep.
Outside of those 2 guys, it's really hard. I would probably take AD then.
Okay.
Interesting. That's not a bad call.
Like, that's like the only 2 names I can think of.
So you're really in on the Lakers.
The Lakers have lost 2 games.
Good.
The Lakers have lost 2 games since we popped on here. I'll say Kawhi.
Yeah, like that's.
He might not play enough. Like he might rest a little bit too much for it. But I'll say Kawhi. And I would like to say Booker, but he's so efficient. I watched him play the other night, and like I just don't think he puts up enough in the stat sheet. He's so good on the court. He does so many good things, but he doesn't shoot the ball as much as he could or should. Gets a lot of hockey type assists. So that's my thought. Although, don't sell your Devin Booker cards. I've sold a couple in recent weeks. Already regret the decision.
All right, so who do you guys have for who we going for Rookie of the Year? I know it's early, and you may not know
this is
everyone.
so hard. It's so random right now.
I think
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I was gonna say LaMelo too.
The NBA, is the NBA for a reason, and if it's mildly close, he wins it.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be LaMelo or like somebody random. Like who's that guy on the Kings? What's his name?
Halliburton.
Yes,
Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, like, I think it's LaMelo or Halliburton.
He's a player, and Wiseman's been good too.
I would say that would be my pick. Would be James Wiseman. I think he's.
Yeah.
I think
he's
gonna.
Toppin?
No, the Knicks. I'm just not betting on the Knicks.
He's played one game. Of course, he has played one game. Yeah, I LaMelo Ball. The NBA is the NBA because of who they are, and he's shown me enough early on that he's playing. I don't think he's starting yet. I think he will eventually start. And he wants it. He's hungry and he wants it. Although, is it Anthony Edwards? He's the Rookie of the Year in terms of press conferences for sure.
He might be the best quote in the NBA, right? He's got to be. He said something the other day about like I'm top 2 and I'm not 2 or something like that, and it was like an unreal quote.
Where he just said, "I'm good at whatever you need me to be good at. I'm good at it. I gotta respect it."
Yeah, it was good. He's funny.
All right, who do we got for Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year is like it's kind of a not interesting conversation to me, but Giannis. Yeah,
Marcus Smart, Giannis.
Yeah. Marcus Smart would be fun to wear.
Marcus Smart?
There's two guys in the league as a Knicks fan that I hate playing against and love having on the squad. Jay Crowder and Marcus Smart. So,
right, here's a little thing you don't know about me. I couldn't sit down and watch a full NBA game if you gave me $1 million.
Interesting. So, what if you bet $5 on it?
No shot.
You could watch a full NBA game?
Not a full like regular season NBA game.
But I'll be honest, I wouldn't go to a Cincinnati Reds or any Major League Baseball game if the whole thing was free and I sat behind the dugout.
Really?
Yeah, so like if I
would fall asleep. It's so boring.
Date or something, but like I would never watch it on TV.
Yeah, if I go to an NBA game, I'll have a good time. Like if we go to a Nets game or whatever, I'll have a great time. But like me like sitting down, popping on yes on a Tuesday, no shot.
What if you take Kyrie over 12.5?
Not interested.
Even though it's over, it would be like 19.
Not interested. But so I feel like Marcus Smart's like one of the good defensive guys that I can know off the top of my head. So I'm going with Marcus Smart.
AD.
Yeah, AD will be right there. I think Giannis, because again, the NBA, they want to keep giving him awards. He's like one of their chosen guys. I don't think he'll win MVP. Hasn't had the greatest start to the season. They haven't as an org, but I think he'll keep stacking hardware. The Pacers, who the Knicks just actually beat, have been tough. Sabonis. What's the word on Sabonis cards? Do you get much Sabonis action through your store?
No, he's a big man, and those don't typically do well, and he's in Indiana, and that definitely doesn't do well.
Well, his silver prism is currently there's an auction with 5 days and 3 hours left that has 23 bids on it for $630.
Oh my God. $630?
Hey. It's a new world out here, 2021. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a no-go for me. The one award I was thinking about that the NBA doesn't do comeback, right? They just do most improved.
Most improved, I think.
So my question to you is, would you, assuming things go the way we think they're going to go, would you take KD for comeback player of the year? Or I'm sorry, for most improved, or would you take MPJ for most improved?
Look, I don't think
conversation.
Of course, I think MPJ is going to win most improved.
Okay, so is KD not in that conversation at all?
I don't think he's allowed to be in the conversation.
I'm asking. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think he can be in that conversation for most improved. Nah, it's like it's your last season. Yeah, like I don't think they would go off of he didn't play last year, so now he is great. I think it's like year-over-year growth.
Interesting.
Sexton going to be in the conversation?
Very much so. That dude's been balling.
He's playing well, huh?
He's playing really well.
Yeah.
I saw his prisms were like $300.
So Sabonis, buy it now, Jan 2nd, $17.99 silver prism PSA 10. The dude's been playing well. He's in the running for
most improved?
Yeah.
Is MPJ really in the running for most improved?
He's starting. Yeah, and I
already put up 30 the other night.
He did. Although now he's stuck in health protocols, contact tracing. He hung out with someone that had COVID.
Well, he wasn't
2021.
He wasn't exactly
doing the right thing
in the mix on that early on.
Yeah, listen. On the court, he's my boy. All right, what do we got next year, Rye? NBA. Oh, championship predictions.
Lou, who you got?
NBA championship. I'll go. I'm gonna take Ryan's from last year. I'm gonna go Celtics Lakers.
Rye.
Ty, I'm gonna wait on you because that was mine.
Do we have to go who wins the chip? Or are we doing that on the next go round?
We'll do that next go round.
No. I'll do Lakers Celtics and then Lakers title back to back for LeBron.
Lakers Celtics Lakers title back to back. Interesting. Okay, I've got the Nets and I've got the Lakers. Yeah. I don't want to because it's kind of boring, but yeah, it's going to be Lakers, Nets, and it would be all time and it would be epic. And I can hear the theme song playing in my head right now. And the Lakers are going to beat them 4-1. Yeah. Kyrie's going to not show up.
My first prediction has to be Lakers Celtics. I'm not buying the Nets. I just feel like KD and Kyrie are just meant to implode. Jaylen Brown's balling this year. I obviously love Jason Tatum. I don't anticipate the Heat being back. I don't buy the Hawks. I mean, Wizards aren't very good. I'm not betting on the Pacers. I'm sure there's somebody I'm missing in this conversation, but to me,
I think the Rockets are going to be good. I think the Rockets will play in the conference finals.
There's no way I'm ever betting on the Rockets to beat the Clippers or the Lakers. So I can't pick the Rockets. I
didn't say they'd go to the finals.
Well, that's good news. This segment is who is going to the finals.
Got it. I forgot.
So I'm with Lou. Lakers Celtics would be my choice. So, but what are you guys? What are you guys keeping an eye out in terms of like players or cards at the moment? I mean, we're 10 games in, 12 games in. I'm not sure, but where's your head at in the
even last market? Like 7-8 games in? Brandon Ingram. I think we forget this kind of what's happened over the last, 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. But like Brandon Ingram is young, really, really, really young. And when I watch him hoop, I'm like, wow, he's really good and could be really, really good. And we kind of forget that it took, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Jordan and LeBron, it both took them 6 years before they made it to a finals. Something like that. 5-6 years. So we kind of forget that a little bit. And that is what I'm paying attention to. I think Brandon Ingram has a potential to be a massive superstar in the league.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think there's a general not consensus, but there's a general thing in a lot of sports, right? Where like it's really quick.
Yeah,
I think it's really hard in the NBA because these kids come out when they're 18, like they have no idea what they're doing. Like they're barely people, and they're in the NBA, and it's like
with money.
Like Markel Fultz. He comes out, he's like 18, 19 years old. He has a rough couple years here, and now he gets over to the Magic. He plays really well. It's looking up for Markel Fultz. But now there's all this built-in negativity and negative energy his way with like Ryan's having a tough phone call. Like now like clouds his career, which is kind of strange, all things considered. Like if you look back, especially now I'm thinking about it even more, it's kind of weird. Like we all watched Last Dance, and it's like it was very clear the beginning of Michael's career was like not the best. He was in a tough situation, he was hurt, all that stuff. And it's weird how this happens all the time. Fultz, It's happening with my favorite quarterback in New York. It happens with all these guys now. We're all like they have this struggle early on, and
Darnold's younger than Burrow, I believe.
He's 23 years old, yeah.
And Fultz is 22, and he's like, people think he's not even
Marco
in the league anymore.
Like he's been in the league for 5. He's been in the league for 5 years. It feels like it actually might be 5 years.
It's got to be probably pretty close.
But so Ryan, what we were saying was like, there's all these negative things that go against these kids when they're super, super young, and we forget that they have, like, Marco Fultz might have 15 years ahead of him in the NBA. That's a really long time.
Yeah. So, Rye, let's take a brief minute. We're gonna go over here. Obviously, you made a big announcement about your shop, and you just had to step away. I know you're getting contractor phone calls, and you're like in the real estate business now. Oh, interesting. Okay, we'll just pretend it was. Otherwise, I feel disrespected. But what's going on with the new shop? Talk about it for 1 second, and then we got to hear about what's on your mind with NBA bet cards.
Yeah, so purchased a building end of December, something we had been working on for quite some time. Obviously, I kept that confidential with you guys, but just really looking to expand in 2021. Just don't have the room now, so this was kind of our opportunity to really get some more space. It's about 3 times the current square footage as we currently have. So,
how big is that? How big will that be?
3,000 square feet.
Epic. And is the current shop going to remain open while you're building this one out?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hopefully there'll be no days we close. So hopefully it'll be, we move when we're not open. But this is just
how long has it been since you first started buying and selling and trading sports cards to now opening your kind of new flagship store? That's what I'll call it.
Like, when did I first really get in hardcore into cards?
I guess, what's your continuous journey of
2006.
06.
Hold on.
And
hold on. This is, again, I'll tell you in a second. I'll talk
fine.
about
All right, so let me do mine. So something I've been thinking about is we were talking about a little bit before with Luka, where there's a lot of stuff built into Luka right now, and he's kind of struggling early on. They're not the best team. He's missing some shots, and it seems like everyone was just waiting for the Luka to pop 2K, and it seems to be having some trouble getting there, due in large part to the way he's been playing, right? So I'm interested to see what happens with that. I'm keeping an eye on that. Obviously, I'm invested in Luka, so I have a vested interest in what happens to his cards, but yeah, I think it's interesting what's going to happen with him, because there's obviously so much. It's actually a little bit Giannis-y with more lessons learned, where there's so much built in towards him. So
yeah, MVP has now been at a $2,000 level for Luka. MVP has been built in. A long playoff run has been built in, and a long
Hall of Famer
career. Hall of Fame has been.
You're locked in at $2,000.
I don't think that's fair to say anymore, guys. Like, I think there's a lot of guys who are way over that price range that aren't going to be like. Is Giannis a Hall of Famer? No, like, that's ridiculous.
You're back-to-back MVP, bro.
Absolutely.
Giannis is in the Hall of Fame. He's in the
absolutely.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Done.
Unless he never plays again. The guy won back-to-back MVP.
He retires today. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you don't just retire today. There had to be a reason.
But hold on. I just think what I'm trying to say here is I think we build in a lot of stuff to a lot of guys. To say you have to be a Hall of Famer to be over $2,000 is a little bit unfair.
Back-to-back MVPs in this league. Giannis,
and also
Curry, LeBron, Nash, Duncan, Jordan, Magic, Bird.
Cool.
Moses Malone.
Cool.
Wilt. Russell.
I got it.
The guy I always go back to in this is Tracy McGrady. What did Tracy McGrady ever accomplish to be in the Hall of Fame?
Maybe the NBA is different.
Never won a playoff game, like a series when he was healthy. I'm not trying to smash T-Mac. T-Mac's great. I'm just like, Giannis is back-to-back MVPs before 27. I'm in on him being a Hall of Famer.
Fine. My point is, I think we jump to the conclusion of it's not really fair to put them at that price range until they're a certain level.
Well, I think in the moment, we'll get into the Mahomes thing a little bit. What I kind of, to your point of right now, I think if you let it breathe, it can go more. But on the current trade, the current start of the season heat, why did it go from 2,100 down to 1,200 and then now pushing back to 2K is because right now people are buying it saying he's either an MVP or a deep playoff run candidate and like is going to win a chip. Now, if he has a ish year, like a new floor will be created, maybe around 1,500, and then if it goes up to 27 next year, they're going to be like, okay, now it's another MVP. So I think the long term, he's obviously got to do those things, but I think that's what people are selling it off of right now. You're buying this from me because you think he's going to be MVP this year or at some point.
Mm-hmm. But I think this is a good point to bring up that, like, you flash back 9 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, whatever it was, we sat here and had the same conversation about this, about when the Luka Prisms were $1,200 as 10s. And we're like, this is what we talked about. Like, the new guy comes into the market and says, hey, I like Luka. I'm going to buy 5 Prism PSA 10s for $2,000 a piece. Then 3 weeks later, they're $1,200. And we're like, hey, that's a new floor. That's great. But he doesn't care. They're down $800 a piece. We talked about it. Are you willing to hold these? And we're going to talk about this here in a little bit with football, because some guys are, only one team's going to win. Guys are going to start to dip. Are you willing to hold these until they come back and see if they even do come back to where they are? Or are you selling off? Because at that point, when we had that conversation, somebody out there bought 10 Luka Prisms at $1,200 a piece and just made $8,000 selling them all yesterday.
This card is, and I'm holding up a LeBron James Topps Chrome 203. 111. It was a $15,000 card. It went down to $10K. Now it's at 17. In between that time, he won a chip. What's becoming more and more clear to me is these like price in, these seasonal buying moments. And I think this is a good, let's transition over into NFL by speaking specifically around Mahomes. And what happened from, Mahomes won an MVP, right? Before he won his chip. Price in being all time. Builds up, boom, he wins the chip on a comeback, Super Bowl, and then the thing nosedives. Then he puts in another MVP-ish type season. He might not win it. And now it's at an all-time high, higher than the post-Super Bowl sell-off. So again, Here we are. Is he going to win another MVP? Is he going to win a second Super Bowl? Is he then Hall of Fame? Cool. Are you going to buy? And if you are going to buy, are you patient and do you have the gut to withstand the dip?
So Lou,
that's becoming more clear pattern-wise for me.
Lou, I just a quick hit here before we get into this Mahomes conversation. Who are you putting in the Hall of Fame right now, Mahomes or Giannis? You're going to put in one.
Mahomes. He's won the Super Bowl.
I was just more curious.
Yeah, Mahomes. Mahomes.
3 years in the league, and he's a Hall of Famer.
I wouldn't put either of them in, but if I'm picking one, I'm picking the one who won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would too. But yeah, Ty, 3 days after the Super Bowl, those cards hit 1,600 as 10s. I think they're at 8,600 now. 7,000.
I'm trying to check right now from last year to this year where we're at.
I'm pretty sure they were about 1,600 to 1,800 post Super Bowl.
Keep talking.
As 10s. I think the argument I have, again, like we talked about with Luka, though, is only one of everybody's got.
Mine's so good.
Yeah, he's dialed in.
February 5th, 2020. The card sold for $1,413. That's unbelievable. He just nailed it on the head.
Selling cards for 14 years.
That's unreal. And now it's at 7800 right now.
Wait. I think there's 3 sales recently, Lou, over $8,000.
Apologies, $8,200. If you bought a Patrick Mahomes the day after he won the Super Bowl, you've made 385% return.
And let's frame up the mindset of someone buying that card. Okay, Patrick Mahomes comes off arguably one of the greatest seasons for an NFL quarterback. He's 2 years into the league. He just won Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. He won, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And his card is now 25% the value of an all-time high. You gotta be kind of different cat to be going into that market. unless you've seen these historical patterns and understand the larger, consumer mindset of like FOMO and like buying it now. Like the most,
here's the real
it's on
funny
our
thing.
chat today, the most Kobe cards this year will probably be sold on Mamba Day, August 24th, which is like probably not the time you want to be buying.
Or it is. Like, it's weird.
Right? So it's just, as we talk about this, again, you texted us earlier today, like, hey, look at all these baseball prices. I know that no one even knows what baseball is right now.
Yeah,
but
no one cares.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, like, here's the crazy thing on Mahomes, right? I'm just looking at the numbers in the bottom of my mind. So 1,400, they win the Super Bowl, February 5th. You go back to May 14th of this year, May 15th of this year, it hits for 3,750, right? It goes back down to 2,300 on June 1st, and then it shoots all the way up to an all-time high of $8,900 on August 10th. It goes back down to 4,800, and now it's back over 8,000 again.
That is a really volatile card.
It's unbelievable.
Those are huge increases.
Think about the floors, right? Think about each time kind of these new floors being hit. And I think that's where you got to kind of pay attention and understand when you think about like the risk and downsides of how much can you stomach that if you do need to get liquid quick.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of the reason. I mean, if you're buying those kind of cards, you realize those are, regardless of how much they fluctuate, just like the LeBron Chrome, that's a really liquid card. You could sell that at any point. Somebody is definitely interested in that card. Luka Prism 10, the Mahomes Prism 10, the LeBron Topps Chrome 10, the Giannis Prism 10, like those are liquid. But Ty, we're kind of going two different ways here, right? We're talking about Mahomes. I want to get into the conversation of, we talked about this before with the NFL, like with the NBA. A week from now, we'll be having another conversation on Card Talk, and six teams are going home. Not going to be in it. 2 weeks from now, you're going to have 4 teams remaining?
Yep.
What do you see happening in the next couple weeks? And I think that's also going to lead into a conversation, kind of like Lou mentioned earlier with baseball, about you're going to be, and we'll get into it in a second, but the end of March, right? You're going to have basketball, college basketball. You're going to be hard in the NBA season. Hockey's getting ready, or hockey's going. Baseball's starting to heat up. The one thing you're going to hear about Trevor Lawrence going pro, hopefully, you're not going to be as interested in what about Kyler Murray or Joe Burrow or some of those guys. So getting into that cyclical thing.
So I think that the first thing that is on my mind for the card market is actually really deeply applicable to your life, Ryan, which is Monday night's matchup, Ohio State versus Alabama. If Ohio State wins that game, the combo of Lawrence and Fields going into this year and what that can do to the market around football cards will be massive.
Yes,
I believe.
Huge.
If he crashes and burn, Lawrence is still huge, right? And will be. But if you get those two, Fields coming off of 2 performances like that, I think that escalates things quickly. As well, with a Herbert, a Burrow off an injury, like that is crazy. Quick sidebar. We talked a lot about skill position players, like just didn't really occur that much as we might have thought it would with the increase. I would almost double down on the opposite of like the QBs are going to be crazy with these young guys. Second, I think Kyler, you'll probably see take a fairly drastic hit.
I would love to see where Kyler's going to go this spring.
Yeah. They finished the season 8-8. Offensive guru as a coach. You get D-Hop. You get a Week 17 win and you're in against the Rams without Goff, who just lost to the Jets.
But Kyler didn't play in that game.
Kyler didn't play, on Sunday?
I don't think Kyler played. I thought it was like 2 dudes that we've never heard of. Wolford.
Did Kyler not play at all?
No, Wolford was the quarterback. John Wolford was a former Jet for a hot minute.
Remember we had the joke about him?
There's like 4 people who understand who that guy is, and me and Tyler are 2 of them. He definitely played on Sunday.
I was going to say, Kyler.
He got hurt. He got hurt. He played.
Yeah, he got hurt, but he was playing. I mean, it was a win and you're in. So I think you'll see a drop in that, which, again, they were 8-8. There could be real value spikes in that offseason wise. I think that it's a real moment for Lamar. I hate to keep going back and being like, it's a moment for him. Guys won an MVP. They're a favorite on the road at Tennessee.
It's a very important game for Lamar Jackson.
If they lose, it gets weird quick.
It's already pretty weird.
If they lose, it gets weird quicker.
I completely agree.
I'm ready to eat. Again, I'm not ready to. I don't want him to win, but I'm fully prepared to eat my words on Josh Allen. For sure.
Yeah.
I understand it's probably coming.
What about him being good or bad?
No, it's like we talked in the offseason, like, are you buying Josh Allen? And I still stand by this. Are you buying Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl or an MVP? Because if not, what are you buying him for? His prices are ridiculous.
I want to tell you guys something, and I haven't talked about this to anyone except myself. I was thinking about it yesterday as I was sitting in bed. I grew up in a time period where Tom Brady owned every aspect of my life. So it was hard for me to really, like, it's hard to root against someone who always beats you because it's like you're just used to it, you know? I don't think I'll be rooting harder. I don't think I've ever rooted harder against a player. Like, I'm going to root against Josh Allen this Sunday. I hate Josh Allen. I hate him. And I Phil Rivers, like, one time.
Here's one. Yeah, and listen, and you might get it from Phil Rivers. Jason, thank you. He did confirm that Kyler got hurt mid-game and missed, it looks like, 43 minutes of playing time.
Like the first quarter.
It's interesting. So he played like a little more than the first quarter. Okay, so he went out with an L and an injury. Could be an off-season bye.
But Ty, before we continue, I want to speak about something because this is
came back in the game late, says Jason.
Trevor Lawrence in football will be not as big because of what basketball is, but a fraction less than what Zion was in basketball.
I agree.
He's been on TV since 8th grade. In the age of social media, Trevor Lawrence has been hyped since he could walk.
Yeah, most people think he has 3 rings.
With the card market the way it is and all this FOMO and what are people gonna be, and you see the NFL is run by quarterbacks, this guy is like, you're talking Andrew Luck, you're talking Manning, Elway, like his stuff a year from now, like you're gonna forget about, Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. Like those guys are gonna get forgotten in the offseason when this guy's got pro cards. It will be mania for football.
Agreed.
Mania.
Another thing is I'm just looking at kind of like the bracket. Is Drew Brees cheap comparatively to Rodgers, to Brady? I guess did it just come out like this is his last year?
Adam Schefter's tweeted that all signs indicate that this will be his last year.
He signed a deal with CBS or something to broadcast, I think.
I didn't hear that.
Something like that. But they either could lose to the, if you want to call them hot Bears, which then Trubisky conversation gets interesting.
Trubisky's apparently made himself a lot of money.
He's been balling.
Apparently the Bears didn't pick up the 5th-year option, and he's like, again, I don't watch the Bears.
Yeah, they benched him and he came back.
They were talking about how Trubisky's going to make himself some money this year.
Someone will rock with him. So that's kind of what's on my mind with football. I mean, here we are. Alex Smith is hosting Tom Brady in the playoffs.
And Chase Young saying, I want Brady.
Yeah,
that seems like a terrible thing to do. Give Tom Brady bulletin board material.
Yeah,
I love Chase Young, my guy, go Bucks, but man.
Okay, on this, let's keep moving. Super Bowl predictions.
I'm not betting against Mahomes in any one game scenario. So I'll probably be wrong, but I'm going Chiefs Packers. It just makes too much sense. I'll take chalk.
I will also be going with the Chiefs, but for the sake of conversation, I'll say Chiefs Seahawks.
I got Buccaneers. I got the Buccaneers going to the chip.
Dude, that would be awesome.
And yeah, I mean, I got the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, and that game would be bananas. I mean, first off, Tom Brady's throwing the ball to Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans, and Gronk. And their D is nice.
And Tampa hopes.
And Jason with another, and it'll be a home game for Brady.
I got a question for you guys, Lou and Ty. What Super Bowl matchup is the best for cards?
Oh, this is a great question. Huh.
I always think about this. I thought about this last year. Like, because when the Patriots beat the Rams, I'm obviously a Patriots guy. I wanted it to be Chiefs Saints for going away, coming, right? Mahomes Breeze one last time. So I'm curious, what do you think the best matchup is this year for card values?
I would say it's definitely the Chiefs.
I disagree with that.
And the NFC is, I think, well, if you're talking chaos, the idea of the Ravens
different ways of going at it.
The idea of the Ravens going to the Super Bowl, the Lamar card would get bananas if they went to the Super Bowl. So, but I think for for the sake of everyone's sanity, I think the best Super Bowl for cards is the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs and the Packers would be the best for cards.
There's so many different ways to go about it. You think the Chiefs and the Packers because Mahomes, Rodgers, but like if the Bills make it, all of a sudden Josh Allen is crazy. But I think if the Browns get super weird and Baker is,
That'd be great.
That would just be wild. And the NFC is like it's kind of Rodgers, Breeze, Wilson, Brady.
Well, when I say best for cards, the way I think about it is if Mahomes doesn't go to the Super Bowl, I think everybody here watching or listening and us probably agrees Mahomes is going to do all right, right?
Yeah, you're pretty much
Lamar
the
doesn't,
diversification of people that matter.
Exactly. If Lamar doesn't win, that's an interesting conversation for a dude to be 0-3 in the playoffs in his first 3 years. Right. Like I think Lamar has a lot on the line. So in terms of the best for cards, I'm looking at it as who can we see take the biggest increase, because Mahomes stuff will likely stay where it's at. I mean, it might dip a little bit because in the offseason, but Mahomes is going to be all right. It has to be Baltimore or Buffalo, right? Just two young guys that I think can prove themselves. Baker could be, but where Lamar is and where Josh Allen are, like where their prices are, I'm going to lean with Lou on this. I'm going to lean his way when he mentioned Lamar earlier. I'll probably go Ravens, and then I would say Seahawks. Jason mentioned Ravens, Seahawks. I think that's probably the best one, or Ravens, Packers, because Rodgers is great, but I think Rodgers' legacy is a whole lot different with 2 Super Bowl rings rather than 1.
Yeah, I agree. And Green Bay doesn't matter so much. But again, if Baker Mayfield goes to Eli Manning, that would be insane.
I don't think the Browns are going to beat I think the Browns are going to lose by 14 or more.
Really?
In the first round.
To the Steelers.
I want the Browns to win. Absolutely. They're a local team.
Yep. You just don't think they're good. You just don't think you're a local
team.
They
They almost lost to Mason Rudolph in the practice squad by like 2 points. Like they just beat them by 2. I'm not betting on the Browns without the defensive player of the year in TJ Watt, the starting quarterback, the starting center. Like you're probably not betting on Cleveland to beat the healthy.
I didn't say it would happen. I'm just saying don't let Baker go Eli Manning.
That would be great.
Because you'll have all types of dances and press conferences.
It would be amazing for local business.
Yeah.
Right. If Baker's hot, people are asking for the Brown stuff. I would love that. It would be great.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Cool. Let's we're gonna switch it over to a little grading. The just kind of round it out with thinking about 2021, the grading companies and all that's happened in the grading world. I mean, grading cards alone is a hobby in and of itself. And
it's definitely a full path to go down in the card game.
So a couple things have happened. as we enter 2021. And I'd love your knowledge on this, Ryan. 3 years ago, it's the start of 2018. Could you have imagined operating a full-time grading business? Like, was the volume there?
I'm not sure I could have imagined anything that we're doing
So
now.
maybe not, don't think about it as imagined, but what was the volume like 3 years ago? Like, what was the general consensus around sending in cards to get graded?
Well, at the time, like BGS and PSA were a lot more comparable. Like
in price?
In price. So like we did a lot of BGS subs.
Really?
Like that's when like guaranteed turnaround times were there. So you'd send in, like a 30-day sub and it would be back in a month, or you'd send in like a 10-day and it would be back in 10 days. I mean, like we did a lot of those.
And so saying that prices were comparable was kind of their brand and their footing comparable?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so. I preferred, at that point, I was preferring, BGS. I think I was a bigger fan of the slabs. I mean, like I said,
it's a little bit more like heavyweight and
it was thicker. I like the gold bar. I think the gold is creative. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot different conversation.
That note, was there a moment or like when did that kind of start to change? Is it the 9.5 thing that really, like, as the newer eyeballs came in, it was just like not as valuable as 10?
That's a good question. I don't really know the answer. I think the market, like I think a year ago is when the market really started to change. I think 2020 was the year for cards where it started out the year started out pretty hot, and like it was trending upward. I had a trade night. It was packed. I mean, you could see the market was going up.
I remember,
and then COVID.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets shut down. You're at home, nothing to do, nowhere to go, and you pick up hobbies, and then the market just explodes. So I would say it's probably been about a full year of being a real, conversation that these are very different. But it definitely hasn't always been that way.
I really think you saying that 3 years ago at the start of 2018, Beckett, BGS, and PSA were seen in symbiotic nature, meaning like as one and the same, is kind of the biggest thing we've talked about, because we've talked a lot about patience and holding things and waiting. And for you to say that they were the same 3 years ago is crazy, because 3 years from now, like that means that there can be massive value in SGC or in Beckett now, means that there is, right? For a lot of our like newer listeners,
we're always on this show. I think we've talked about it on many episodes. What's the next thing? What do you keep an eye on? What's underpriced, right? Like, it's second year base cards. It's the LeBron Topps Chrome PS10 gets so expensive. Then you go to the Topps. Then you can't afford the Topps 10, so you go to the Topps Chrome 9, or you can't afford that, so you go to the Topps 9. So you're always looking for value in this, right? Everybody's always looking for the next thing. I know Gary tweeted about it the other day, like, what's the next thing? Yeah, sure, there could be a significant value in, a BGS 9.5 if the price is, because there's got to be, Lou, you're our expert price checker. What's the difference between a Luka 9.5 and a Luka Prism 10? I would assume it's 14, probably 1,400 to $2,000.
Depends on the sub. Luka's been around like 13, 14 for a 9.5, and the 10s are doing 18 or like 1,850, 1,900.
That's a pretty good value.
Hell yeah.
The subs, like, it's funny how, I also noticed with with the 9.5 is like, the subs have gotten a lot more important, I feel like, in the last 6 months or so.
Great
like
point.
True Gems are really doing a big difference in numbers. When you get to the higher end cards, a True Gem Luka versus a
Min Gem.
Yeah, like with 2 9s on it or whatever.
Like Min Gem's got to be like a PSA 9. Yeah,
Min Gem's doing like 1,000, 1,100 versus 14 for a True Gem 9.5. That's a real difference. So like, I thought that was pretty interesting. That's something I noticed as well.
And there's got to be go ahead.
I've, shout out to Sasha. He posted a video about this the other day. He's been seeing a lot of BGS 9s and being able to cross them over. Having success with that. That's an interesting little thing that's been happening.
BGS 9s to,
this is his small sample size data, but PSA be it to 10 to PSA 10s and PSA 9s pretty consistently.
I mean, that's got to be a huge markup if you're able to cross those. I mean, BGS 9 to a PSA 10's got to be.
You got to find the right cards, but yeah.
I mean, a Luka BGS 9 without looking, I would assume is $750.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about $1,100 increase. That's massive.
It's tough. It's definitely not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's doable. That goes back to something you were saying, Ryan, about like, you're buying cards, not grades, right? Like if you can find a BGS 9 with 9.5 centering, which happens, and you get 8.5 surface or 8.5 corners, you can potentially work around that.
Yeah, and I think that was a great way to start off the conversation around grading. I think the next thing is, with cards taking so long to get back, now every card gets graded. Like people are just sending cards.
That's why they're changing up the services, right? Like they're pretty much like don't send in bulks anymore because it's a bunch of random shit. And
so like, if you can't get a card back for 5 months now, that means that there's a lot of space for someone to either, CGC, I think, is a new thing that is coming up a little bit. I also think with all this awareness, one of the main things that I get hit up by people is, hey, look at all these cards I found in my attic. Are they worth anything? Do they mean anything? What is it? And that 1 in every 25 have like cards that matter. Meaning, like, you probably see it. Like, people come in, you're like, yo, like, you're sitting on some shit here. But Bird Magic, PSA 8 graded it like in the oldest PSA slab ever. Now that thing goes through grading and it's like a different beast. So you're really going to start seeing, I think, different quality of grades within grades. And how does that play out? PSA now private. What are those developments?
Yeah, I'm super, super, super intrigued by like the market leader at this point is PSA and it's not close. What does Nat's acquisition of PSA, making it private, what does that like look like? Lou mentioned like service levels going away. Like the demand is there. So what, like, I'm so intrigued by PSA's plans for 2021 because I see it every day. People want graded cards. People want their cards graded. And I don't see that, declining anytime soon. So yeah, I'm super, super intrigued by what PSA's plans are for the next couple months because demand is at an all-time high.
Yeah, I really wonder what they're going to do because it's definitely like rubber hitting the road in terms of like, I've had a 20-day out since July. We're in January.
It doesn't make me feel good about my 20-day with Ryan. It's starting in October right now.
Yeah, that's not looking too hot, right? So like, I'm pretty much at this place now. If I'm submitting cards, like if I'm submitting baseball cards, I got to do 10 days to get them back in time for the season. It's the only way I'm gonna be able to do it. Now I'm paying $75 a card to submit cards. And this is what we were talking about with like the how much can they really charge?
It should be a lot. It should be a lot.
Guess what? They can charge me $75 all day long.
Yeah, if 5 day now, if they doubled it, you'd still submit.
You'd still
That's
submit.
what I'm saying. But then that's where it gets really interesting with that's why I was texting you. I think I was texting you guys. I'm buying Jordans, right? Like I'm trying to buy 10s. PSA 10 Jordans, $45. There's no way I could raw to grade it. It doesn't make sense. It'll never work.
You could raw to grade it and see it in June.
Yeah, like maybe see it in June.
Yeah, if you send them in today, maybe. And then where are we in June? I'm trying to get rid of these cards in April, May. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's going to cost
April, May.
If they're selling for $45, anything in a PSA 10 right now at $45, you should probably just get because the value.
Let's not say that, but like
if you think about it, it costs.
If you're interested in the player, it's impossible, especially in a world where if you're not going to get a lot of 10s, right? Like it's tough to 10, right?
But
no matter what.
If that card has a 10 sells for that, I think this is a great argument because I've been looking at a lot of graded lately. Like that, what does a 9 sell for?
9 or $20, I would know. I just bought some.
I mean, $20. You can't.
Can't do anything for $20.
$20. That's what 45-day cost. That's see it in a year. That's got to be a great value at $20. If you're in on Jordan, that's a great value.
I bought 10 of them. That was.
Do you think there is an opportunity for almost a mid-tier version of grading that is almost like a proper encasing for the more collector market and or people that maybe want to secure cards, like a
You're
version
outside of PSA?
Yeah, or PSA offers it as a send in your card and we're just going to slab it, almost like the authentic grade.
No.
People want 10s or 9s and they want to be able to sell them.
It's like when you're sitting in
the collector market isn't big enough.
Well, that's the thing is Beckett's trying to do that. They were trying to do that no subgrade stuff where it's a fraction of the cost to grade them with no subgrades. And to me, it's like less than a min grade. You're just assuming it's a min grade. So I think they do less than the min grade. So to me, there are people out there that do it just to get cards graded. I definitely think there's interest. It's just, if you're asking me personally, it doesn't intrigue me at all.
Got it.
Like, I'm not sending in the card just to have it authenticated, like, especially in terms of a reseller, right? It's different if it's a collector. If you're doing it to encase it and add value and protect it long term, that's a different discussion. That's a true collector discussion. That's different than, hey, I've got this Zion Prism rookie. I'm trying to get it in a 10 and take it from a $300 card to an $800 card or an $850 card. That's the intention there, rather than, have it in a case just to say it's in a case.
Yeah, because I feel like that the interest for like the just purely authenticated isn't going to be a thing until fake cards start getting made at scale, which is going to happen. But like until that happens, because then I would just buy a raw Zion. It's a lot cheaper.
And like you just saying that about Zion, like I have a Zion base card. It's worth $250. If I send it to these people and the cheapest I can get it done is for $20, if I'm willing to wait, it'll come back and be worth $850. Like
here.
When are they going to start just saying, okay, we know the market value of Zion, we take 10% of the current market value, or
they do upcharges.
I've never understood.
They do upcharges.
Right, I've never understood that with like where they charge you like $400, like up to $499 market value. Like
I sent in when I sent in a big order, my Ronaldo Ice got a 10 and I got upcharged $500.
Really?
So just for perspective, I got a $500 upcharge.
And the other thing is they do that on slabbing, not on intake, right?
Yeah, they do it at the very end because they don't know it until
and now think about how tough that is. Like that sucks. Like,
it's hard to prepare for, but that's why they have different service levels.
Yep, a lot of people were buying Mbappe's for $1, and by the time they got them back, they're getting upcharged $100 per card.
Now it's a good. Exactly. It's a good problem to have. Your cards are worth thousands of dollars because this company's put their stamp of approval on it. So it's hard to complain when your card is now worth 10, 15, 20x.
Yeah, it's champagne problems for sure. But it's just one of those weird things where like they're in this spot where they hold all the chips. They hold $1,000,000%. They hold all the cards.
$1,000,000%.
In which case they should, because of that, I believe we can and will see pretty drastic changes and innovation in their business model.
I completely agree.
I'm super.
Why is PSA not just having their own marketplace where you can sell the cards?
100%.
Yeah,
that not exist. I'm sure I say that like an idiot. Like, duh. I'm sure that's on their
like
mind.
Matt goes and buys PWCC and just
Matt buys Star Stock, and now.
Yeah, and that's again, I follow him from afar. He's super interested to see what he does. He's got the best basketball collection I've probably ever seen, and seems like a super intelligent guy. And this seems
a preposterous card the other day, and I was like,
which one was it?
Going on? Hang on, it was something, and I was like,
was it the Jordan LeBron Kobe logo man?
Yes, that's exactly what it was. I was like, what is that? Like, how do you have that?
He also got, I think he has one or two of the Jordan PMGs.
It's unbelievable.
Love it.
So, yeah, this will be a conversation that I'm sure we'll hit on multiple times, but this will This will be fun to look back on later when things are going to change, right? We'll be having cold conversations in the next 25 weeks, 30 weeks, whatever we decide to do with this season. But there'll be more conversations that will arise from grading this year. It's big in the market, and it's definitely here to stay.
Going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Right. Anything else, Ty, Lou, before we get into latest launch? Anything else in your mind?
I would like to say that our quick conversation about Giannis before really doubled down my feelings towards the NBA. The fact that Giannis is already a Hall of Famer is outrageous. That's all.
Look,
I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer. It seems pretty likely.
That's what you said, and you're
right.
It just seemed likely.
He did, and he's right. He did, and he's right.
Right. The point is that that's stupid.
Well, listen, Lou. LeBron James should have 12 MVPs.
I agree. Wait, what?
It's the same thing. They don't, because the NBA, they're so good. They do
they put everyone in the Hall of Fame.
They build superstars.
Okay.
They market and build superstars.
They definitely do. They also put way too many people in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I don't even know how many people are what's the percentage of? I don't even know how would we calculate? It
would be fractional.
The way we calculated is that you guys said that
total players
3 years into his career, 5 years into his career, whatever.
Giannis has been in the league for 7 years.
Great.
He won back-to-back MVPs.
Great.
In a superstar-driven
That's
league.
been done 10 times in the history of the NBA.
Bro, is Mike Trout in the Hall of Fame?
Mike Trout's the best baseball player of all time. So yeah.
Mike Trout's only been in the league 8 years. Mike Trout's only been in the league 8 years.
How many playoff series?
We have a complete body of work for
how many playoff series?
8 years?
Back-to-back
a decade. He's been in the league for a decade.
When was his first year in the majors? The first full year?
12.
2011
top stuff? Oh, full year, 2012.
Full year 12. Giannis was a rookie in 13-14. They're 1 year apart.
Great.
Mike
Trout's a significantly
amount of MVPs.
I agree. Trout's amazing. I love
Mike
Trout.
Trout is a significantly better baseball player than Giannis is a basketball player. I would go to the mat on that one.
You're probably right. It doesn't take away that Giannis has won back-to-back MVPs.
Okay.
And we went through the list. Who?
So Lou,
Ray Allen? Arguably hit the greatest shot of all time.
Cool. Do you know who Maurice Cheeks is in the Hall of Fame?
Mo Cheeks?
Yeah. Grant Hill's in the Hall of Fame?
I mean,
this is a 2018 class. I'm naming from the same class.
Grant Hill.
Lou, real quick.
Did Mo Cheeks make it in on an asterisk?
Lou. Is Kyrie in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I guess.
Is Anthony Davis a Hall of Famer?
I would say no, but maybe.
Not yet. But
do you understand how ridiculous it is that we're even talking about Anthony Davis being in the Hall of Fame? He's a nobody in the scheme of life.
Wow. AD with Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, a finals win.
Hill, Mo Cheeks, Ray Allen.
You're not putting him in? Wow.
Look, Ray Allen's a Hall of Famer, Lou.
Okay. That's a fact. He is a Hall of Famer.
I'm just trying to say.
Back to 27. Let's wrap this up real quick. But 2017, Tracy McGrady.
Legend.
What did Tracy McGrady do?
Tracy McGrady, you can get me on. I can't even say these because I feel so out of place that I don't even know. Tom Jernstadt, who's that? Manny Jackson for the Globetrotters. Okay, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. There's
Nikos Galis.
It's a Hall of Fame for the sport, Lou, not for the league.
George McGinnis.
Yeah, George.
I don't know who these people are. They're in the Hall of Fame.
Listen, an 11 season in the ABA and the NBA. He's drafted from Indiana University.
My head hurts from thinking about this. So let's move on to latest launch.
All right, we'll continue this conversation later because I'm sure we'll get some feedback on this. All right, nothing super crazy this week. You've got Elite Extra Edition Baseball and then I changed that. Immaculate Soccer and Eminence Basketball. So Eminence Basketball, for those wondering, I know Panini has Dutch auction style for first off the line, starting at $50,000, And my understanding is Eminence Hobby is around $18,000 for one box of cards. It's 10 cards per pack, has 9 autographs and 1 other card.
So real quick for the people, so they can all look into this themselves as well. What site do you use when you're checking out new releases?
Blowout Cards Forum. They have a new release calendar.
Nice.
It's on the very bottom of their website.
Nice. I'm fired up for the Immaculate Soccer for sure. Will I get any?
It's pre-selling at $2,000 a box. That's what basketball.
Maybe it'll make one of those work for you, Ty.
That would be cool. That would be really cool.
As Immaculate has 5 autographs or jerseys and 2 base cards per box. Looks like it's got a lot of stars in it.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Joao Felix in my life.
It gets really ugly in the 2013 NBA Hall of Fame. I'm really going back. It gets really ugly, yes.
They do a lot of Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah, okay. Let's wrap it up.
Listen, the entire state of Indiana is in the Hall of Fame, right?
This is going to be a great season.
It's going to be sweet. But before we leave, it is going to be sweet, but I need to say this because we talked about Immaculate Soccer. The Premier League is going to go into the second half of the season. Liverpool just lost to Sheffield United today, and it may be one of the most entertaining Premier League seasons in at least the last 5 years, maybe the last 10. A lot of contenders at the top. Liverpool, City, United, Leicester, Chelsea is kind of irrelevant. I'm going to be talking more soccer on this season. And Lou, we're going to watch a game together at some point.
You have a better chance to get me to watch soccer than you do the NBA. So, yeah.
All right. Deal.
I know less about it. I know I hate the NBA. I don't know I hate
That's
soccer.
fair. Yeah, we'll get into some soccer. We'll find a good game. I think it's Sunday the 17th. Yeah, day before Martin Luther King Day. Manchester United, Liverpool. Huge matchup.
Wow, I'm counting the moments. I can feel the energy already.
There's real energy for that one. Wake up.
I can feel it. I can feel it coming off of you.
All right. That's all we got for episode 1. We will see you guys next week on Card Talk.
Peace.